This is Planetary Influence with Kerry Shamblin. I'm bringing you the May 2022 astrological forecast. Here's a summary. April 2022 brought some notable planetary shifts, with the nodal axis settling into Aries and Libra, Jupiter moving into Pisces, and Saturn moving into Aquarius. Just prior to May beginning, we see Venus move to join Jupiter in Pisces, Saturn joining Mars in Aquarius, and Mercury pushing past Rahu into Taurus. The final show of April is a partial solar eclipse in Aries on April 30th. The moon waxes during the first half of May as the outer planets settle into new positions. The full moon in Scorpio results in a total lunar eclipse on May 15th and 16th, visible in Europe, Africa, and the Americas. Mercury will be in retrograde motion from May 10th to June 3rd in the Earth sign of Taurus. These phases can be challenging to communication and transactions due to the strong, chaotic undertone of retrograde motion. Best to slow down and triple check. From April 27th through May 23rd, there will be a beautiful and positive combination gracing the oceanic sign of Pisces, with its ruler Jupiter combining with Venus, who reaches exalted status there. Look out for positive connections with teachers and helpers while enjoying moments of profound spiritual grace. The Sun moves from exaltation in Aries to join Mercury in Taurus from May 15th to June 15th. This will move the Sun into the front of the procession of planets as they advance past the outer planets, perhaps giving the sense of moving forward with a new face after an extended period of patience. Fiery Mars also shifts signs from Aquarius to Pisces on May 16th, joining the auspicious combination of Jupiter and Venus. It is positive when Jupiter's influence can guide the power of Mars, which will continue through June 26th. Venus moves from Pisces to Aries on May 23rd, breaking the peace of the Pisces transit and trading for the passionate position of traveling through Aries with Rahu. The moon wanes through the latter half of May, coming to join the Sun in Taurus for the new moon on May 30th. For more details on all of these planetary movements for May, please continue listening. Saturn in Aquarius preview from April 29th to July 12th. April 2022 showed a trio of major changes in the outer planets. The Rahu-Ketu axis shifted and bobbed to the signs of Aries and Libra until October 2023. Jupiter has begun a positive transit of his own sign of Pisces from April 2022 to April 2023. Finally, just as April 2022 comes to a close, Saturn edges from his Capricorn territory to his Aquarius territory for a relatively short time. Saturn progresses forward in Aquarius from April 29th to June 4th, when he stalls and then begins a retrograde phase which lasts until he returns to 25 degrees Capricorn on October 23rd, 2022. Retrograde Saturn re-enters Capricorn on July 12th. Because of this short peek into Aquarius, we may count this 10 weeks that spans from early May through mid-July as a preview of what to expect, predict, and prepare for when Saturn returns to Aquarius for the main transit from January 17th, 2023 to March 30th, 2025, where he then lunges into an incredible stack-up in Pisces. Saturn is the one who always plays the long game and takes it very seriously. The events that take place during this Saturn in Aquarius preview could be a tell for what to prepare for when Saturn occupies his air sign during 2023, 2024, and first quarter 2025. Let's also recall the general trend in the dance between Jupiter, associated with expansion and growth, and Saturn, associated with contraction and limitation. In December of 2020, we saw the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn. For roughly the next decade from then, Jupiter moves away from Saturn, perhaps giving us the feeling of expansion, with periods of limitation given by Saturn aspecting Jupiter. Jupiter will reach opposition with Saturn on April 24th, 2030. Bringing it back into more current application, when we have this Saturn in Aquarius blip for 10 weeks, Saturn will be one sign behind Jupiter, indicating that in order for growth to occur, something may have to be let go, spent, donated, sold, or composted. If it isn't already clear what that thing is, such as a relationship, a property, or a pipe dream, Saturn in Aquarius could help to open your mind to the facts. Aquarius is the zone where Rahu's innovation meets Saturn's practical limitations. Saturn and Rahu, as co-rulers of Aquarius, make this air sign the perfect think tank. With Saturn and Jupiter both in good dignity, and Rahu on fire in Aries, we could be on quite a wild ride as we traverse spring into summer. Saturn in Aquarius is powerful and will further affect the signs that he aspects. Saturn's influence can feel like pressure, determination, detachment, and practicality. From Aquarius, Saturn aspects the signs of Aries, Leo, and Scorpio. Leo is ruled by the Sun, Saturn's archenemy. Aries and Scorpio are Mars's signs, who may feel frustrated by having the brakes put on his hot plans. Prepare for this friction by accessing the watery and wise energy of Jupiter in Pisces. We may be collectively facing big decisions in the next couple months. The detachment of Saturn is a boon when it comes to preventing future suffering. Learn lessons about what's actually possible, but hold on to the golden threads of idealistic inspiration. Figure out what vehicles will work for this new climate and rising tide. Make plans and make backup plans. Walk with faith and hope while also carrying tools and provisions. The sign of Scorpio is especially energized at this time. From Pisces, Jupiter will be aspecting all of the water signs, including Scorpio, through April 2023. While Saturn is in Aquarius, Saturn will also aspect the sign of Scorpio. When both of these great planets conjoin in or aspect the same sign, that sign receives the blessing of a healthy balance between growth and decay. Akshaya Tritiya falls on May 3rd. May 3rd will be Akshaya Tritiya, a special day in the Vedic calendar, when the sun and moon are both in exalted position. We experience this one day per year when the sun is in Aries and the waxing moon is in Taurus. This day is considered to be free from all flaws and is therefore recommended for performing any auspicious, notable, or important actions. Perhaps this day will be an oasis of calm in the midst of major shifts and an eclipse pairing. Venus and Jupiter grace Pisces from April 27th to May 23rd. On April 27th, Venus gets a lovely escort from the waning moon as both watery feminine planets move out of the high and dry zone of Aquarius and into the high seas of Pisces. The moon stays only a short while, moving into Aries by April 29th. This leaves us with a brilliant pairing of Venus and Jupiter that continues to May 23rd, when Venus moves to join Rahu in Aries, which will also be notable. In the planetary cabinet, Venus and Jupiter share the designation of minister, guide, and teacher. Jupiter's wisdom blesses us with knowledge of the natural universe, the framework in which we learn and operate. Venus's grace blesses us with understanding the relationships between the beings who are experiencing within the natural universe. When they can join in Pisces, we see this as a great blessing where we can expand our consciousness to deeply understand and integrate the lessons we experience as individual beings operating within this natural university of life. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and exalts Venus, putting both planets into extremely positive dignity. With Jupiter currently benefiting all of the water signs by aspect, and conjoining Venus, who rules the water element, this is a great time for cleansing, connecting, and nourishing. The expansive nature of Pisces itself invites dissolution, relaxation, and joyful engagement. This could be an amazingly creative stretch, especially for those involved in music and fine arts creativity. The signs of Pisces and Virgo will especially feel the positive impact of this Jupiter and Venus combination from April 27th to May 23rd, even amidst other circumstances that may feel challenging or unstable. Our two gurus will be giving a masterclass on going with the flow. Mercury retrograde in Taurus from May 10th to June 3rd. Mercury pushed forward into Taurus on April 24th, officially ending any trace of the intense Kala-Sarpa combination until 2025, when we experience a brief spell, with more significant instances coming in 2026. Having reached 11 degrees Taurus on May 10th, Mercury's second retrograde cycle of 2022 begins, taking him back to 2 degrees Taurus on June 3rd, where he regains direct motion. All of Mercury's 2022 retrograde cycles will focus on the earth signs, with the first being in Capricorn. This one, beginning in May, being in Taurus, and the third in Virgo from September 9th to October 2nd. Since Mercury retrograde can inspire disruptions, miscommunications, and equipment anomalies, we may want to realize that this could manifest more in the physical realm with material things due to the location in Venus's earth sign, Taurus. The general wisdom with Mercury retrograde is to avoid actions that require long-term stability, such as opening a new business or getting married. That said, sometimes we have to go ahead with things despite the weather, so just be mindful of details and take time to double and triple check them. Activities that are supported by the sometimes hyperactive energy of Mercury retrograde are editing, remodeling, refurbishing, repairing, reinventing, and redoing of any kind. It's a good time to dig through the pile of stuff that has accrued on desks and workbenches and toss the detritus while digging into relevant tasks that have been lingering. The Sun moves through Taurus from May 15th to June 15th. The Sun moves past Rahu in Aries and into Taurus on May 15th for the standard 1-month transit, exiting to Gemini on June 15th. In the course of moving through Venus's Earth element sign, Sun will switch places with Mercury, who is retrograde in Taurus, and truly begin to lead the procession of planets through the zodiac. Venus and the Sun have a tenuous relationship, as Venus is the champion of the collective and Sun shines strongly on individuality. Each year, the Sun traverses the signs of Venus 2 times, once through Taurus from mid-May to mid-June, and the other through Libra in the autumn. With the dynamic nodal axis currently in the signs of Mars and Venus, our theme of power and diplomacy within relationships continues. The planet most involved with the Sun's transit through Taurus this year is Mercury, who will be occupying Taurus for all of May. The aspect coming to Taurus from Mars and Aquarius will end on May 16th, when Mars moves to Pisces. This is positive for the Sun, who does not thrive with that aspect. Mercury's magic comes with seeing situations from many perspectives, which allows for objective analysis even in the most sticky of situations. The retrograde status of Mercury interacting with the Sun in Taurus could inspire further work and trying to find the right balance within relationship dynamics. Full moon total eclipse in Scorpio, May 15th. On the border between Libra and Scorpio, where the nodal axis currently sits, the moon becomes full at 2 degrees Scorpio, close enough to the nodal axis to cause a total lunar eclipse, visible from Europe, Africa, and the Americas. This is an interesting eclipse because the full moon is caught between Ketu and its own degree of debilitation, which comes at 3 degrees Scorpio. This transitional zone between Libra and Scorpio, as well as the transitional zone between Aries and Taurus, will carry the signature of this eclipse until the next eclipse pairing comes in October and November. Take note of important personal chart placements that fall in these sensitive zones where Sun and Rahu will oppose Moon and Ketu. The houses indicated in individual horoscopes could experience some shifting in the form of beginnings or endings, as the nodal axis allows the shadow of the Earth itself to obscure the bright full moon light for a few hours. Since the idea of shadows obscuring light is the theme in eclipses, it seems wise to go with the flow and allow oneself the luxury of turning inward, closing the eyes and allowing the deep wisdom of the body to sit with the brief interruption in the strong moonlight. The moon represents our emotional, sensitive mind that constantly changes state. Our feelings and perceptions strongly influence how we interact with the world. Ketu, the south node of the moon, is associated with spirituality, liberation, dissociation, deep transformation, obstruction, changing direction, meditation, and any action that doesn't require a great deal of mental energy. Ketu's energy can be disturbing or disruptive to the moon, so it is always a good idea to know when the moon will pass by Ketu each month. Awareness of this potential allows us to prepare and not become disturbed by emotional fluctuations. Surrendering to the deep churning that our minds may do when Ketu's shadow falls on the moon is an option, perhaps better when paired with a healthy dose of detachment and a bit of introspection. Mars transits Pisces from May 16th to June 26th. 2022 began with the theme of Venus and Mars conjoined tightly for an extended period of time. Let us also recall that the nodal axis recently changed signs to Aries and Libra, ruled by Mars and Venus respectively, and the last sign pairing of the nodal axis was in Taurus and Scorpio, ruled by Venus and Mars respectively. May sees Mars and Venus pairing up loosely and briefly in Pisces under Jupiter's supervision from when Mars enters Pisces on May 16th to when Venus exits Pisces on May 23rd. This will be the last time these two planets occupy the same sign until Venus catches up with Mars in Cancer in June of 2023. With the overarching Venus-Mars nodal themes being offered since October of 2020, many of us have our attention on these two dynamic planets that so perfectly represent the feminine and masculine principles that exist in all of nature as well as in all beings. Mars's role in the planetary cabinet is that of general or military leader. When we track Mars in the sky or in our individual horoscopes, we get information about how we utilize, manage, and acquire power. The sign where Mars is posited will influence our relationship with power. Since Venus shows above all how we relate, the dynamic between Venus and Mars is quite notable. Relationships and power, creativity and drive, collective harmony and personal fulfillment. Finding a way to balance these Venus-Mars dynamics can lead us toward a smoother road in life. Since Mars does have quite a bit of power in his command, we always look for wise, positive, and good influences on Mars. Jupiter's influence on Mars is ideal, which is what we will get when Mars enters Pisces, Jupiter's own sign that he currently occupies as well. Mars transits Pisces from May 16th through June 26th, salvaging what usable resources and materials from whatever has dissolved in the great seas of the recent past. Let's get a handle on Mars's itinerary for the remainder of 2022. Mars in Pisces with Jupiter from May 16th to June 26th. Mars in Aries with Rahu from June 26th to August 9th. Mars in Taurus, Venus's sign, from August 9th to October 15th. Mars in Gemini, briefly, October 15th to November 13th, when he returns to Taurus. Because Mars retrograde, October 29th, starting in Gemini until January 12th, 2023, where he regains direct motion in Taurus. The signs that we're seeing Mars traverse through year's end bring forth themes of doing the difficult work of ending something despite the expense, and from Mars's perspective, waste of resources. This difficult work of ending will then be followed by the requirement of taking the initiative for new plans and projects. Jupiter's presence is quite beneficial as Mars picks up pieces and prepares for the new starts indicated by entering his fire sign of Aries in late June. Rather than seeing the possible loss of power, resources, or footing that may manifest while Mars sails through Pisces as negative, see them as a natural expense, the payment of debts and the clearing of a slate. Jupiter, the great guru, will have the attention of Mars. May we collectively and individually expand our understanding of how to compassionately manage our resources, power, and fire. May we use this understanding as we venture into new chapters and pioneer into unknown territory. From Pisces, Mars aspects the signs of Gemini, Virgo, and Libra. Those with significant placements in those signs could be faced with reorganizing relationships, power structures, and resource allocation. Having a watery environment makes the fire of Mars seem a bit safer, but it never hurts to make sure our circuits are closed and our charge is grounded. Venus transits Aries from May 23rd to June 17th. After the long conjunction with Mars and the brief loose meeting in Pisces, Venus, with her faster speed through the zodiac, will move into Mars's sign of Aries from May 23rd to June 17th. With the planet in charge of the water element gliding into Mars's fire sign, and Mars, who is in charge of the fire element, bobbing through watery Pisces, we really do have an opportunity here to create new avenues with minimal risk of losing our heads or blowing up our foundations. While the balance between Mars and Venus energy can be tricky to maintain, the play of these two agents of opposing elements is passionate, creative, and exciting. Keep an eye on relationships and personal interactions as Venus moves through the Gandanta zone between Pisces and Aries on May 22nd and 23rd. The indication is that this may require some real strength, detachment, and compassion, as something must be left behind in order to move ahead. Once Venus gets past this knot, the territory of Aries awaits. Rahu lurks in the later degrees, which Venus moves past during the second week in June. Venus and Rahu are natural friends with similar tendencies. Venus is social and interactive, so Rahu's influence will only amplify this. This could be an exciting time with new connections, creative innovations, and quickly changing landscapes. Have fun and make sure you have a designated driver. Aries can be a volatile environment, especially with Rahu present. But remember that we have the water element on hand, we have Mars getting good advice from Jupiter, and we also have the brakes on, with Saturn aspecting Aries from Aquarius. The potential for making good choices is huge. Maximize it. New moon in Taurus, May 30th. As May closes, the moon will be sliding back into conjunction with the sun at 15 degrees Taurus for our first new moon after the recent eclipse pairing. The luminaries will be in the nakshatra of Rohini, ruled by the moon itself. The main influence on this new moon comes from retrograde Mercury, sharing the space in Taurus. The time around the new moon tends to cause low physical and mental energy, which makes it difficult to face emotional issues. This is a good time for self-care, introspection, and integration. Mercury's retrograde status further emphasizes the wisdom of slowing down. Venus, the ruler of Taurus, will be newly running through Aries toward Rahu at this time, tempting us to spend more energy on socializing than we may have. Make sure to carve out time to eat right, rest well, and rejuvenate to avoid burnout during late May and early June. The distractions could be notable. Calculations for this forecast are done on the basis of the sidereal zodiac, using the Chitrapaksha Ayanamsha and mean nodes. Timings are based on Mountain Time Zone, U.S. A written version of this forecast is available at my website, planetaryinfluence.com.